Hello everybody. Just got a couple of Ashbery grails. Here they are, both of them. The first one is what we call the Hunky John self-portrait, which depicts Hunky John in this like slot over here to the left. And it has this like 1970s font, the Gravity's Rainbow font, which always struck me as super cool, that it was like the Gravity's Rainbow font. And you see there down at the bottom, there's a description of all the prizes and everything. This is a very like good quality copy. Found it at Half Price Books. I saw this spine and I freaked out, and I immediately took it off the shelf and bought it. You don't want to know how little I paid for this. It's gonna make you ache. That's what the back looks like. It's all got this like slight kind of silvery sheen to it. And the contents are just, you know, a paperback copy of Self-Portrait in a Convex Mirror. It's got the gem. It's got the title poem, which I read this past weekend at a vineyard to great effect. Is this like a remaindering mark? What is that? What is that mark? I don't understand what that mark is down in the corner. But it's a mass market size book. You can see compared to Tennis Court Oath, you see it's smaller. So now Self-Portrait in a Convex Mirror, I have a copy, I have like the text of these poems in like selected poems, the Library of America, Volume 1, a standalone. It's kind of a lot. I already had like 3 copies of it. And then here's the best looking one by far. I'd seen photos of this one online, and it kind of became a grail over time. Then the other one that I got was like only like a week later. So it must have been like from the same, and it was at the same store. So my hunch is that it was somebody who really liked Ashbery, and then they like passed on or something. And they bequeathed a couple of these books to Half Price Books, either you know, voluntarily, like give my books to used bookstores, or maybe involuntarily, maybe all of their books were just given to Half Price Books by whoever cleaned up. I mean, I don't know who owned these. I mean, there's no name. So it's clear. So the names in the front of both of them are different. They're different. So they didn't belong to the same person. I think it's just sheer luck that I got these 2 books at this time. But anyway, this Tennis Court Oath is a second printing of the Wesleyan University Press edition. You can see that the paper is textured. It's got this wonderful cover, maybe the best cover in all of Ashbery, besides some like Rivers and Mountains covers. And maybe, yeah, it's tough to find a better cover than this. I've always been partial to the As We Know, the landscape As We Know. And that one's pretty good. Houseboat Days has a decent cover, but it doesn't, Houseboat Days cover kind of like combines both of these, because it has the gray, but then it also has this like line down the middle thing. I guess they all have that. But yeah, I always wanted a standalone copy of the Tennis Court Oath ever since I knew of its influence or whatever, and how much of an outlier it is. I was recently listening to the pen sound audio files of Ashbery talking about this book to some kind of tired sounding interviewer. And like the narrative in short is that it's like you were trying to blow up your language so that you could put it back together again and have a voice. You trying to look for a voice, you kind of blew up your voice, and then you know, it's kind of like a breaking style, you know. I bet Wendler talks about that in that one book that I haven't read yet. I need to read that. But in those pen sound audio clips, he talks about how by the time of Rivers and Mountains, those pieces that were all blown apart here had been put back together, and that by Double Dream of Spring, which is an absolute banger of a collection, things had been even more put together. Maybe, he speculates. That's a grail. So like, what remains for a collector who has all of this stuff? Oh, I just will say that also that my copy of Tennis Court Oath is a little water damaged. It has a little bit of a kind of a creakiness to the corner, but it's really not that bad. Oh, you can see on some pages it's worse than others. I think on some pages you see like an actual line maybe. What's next for someone who collects Ashbery and has already gotten these two new grails, Hunky John Self-Portrait and second printing textured paper Tennis Court Oath? What possibly lies in wait? Well, there are a few things that I want now. I mean, I still want a standalone of Shadow Train. I loaned out my copy of 3 books that has Houseboat Days, Shadow Train, and A Wave. I would like that back, or I would like to get another copy. I loaned it to someone who I think may be mad at me, so I'm not sure I'm going to get it back. That was maybe a stupid move. But it wasn't a stupid move because I already have plenty of these books. I mean, I'm crazy if I feel like I need more. But I need more. I've always wanted a standalone of Flowchart. I don't have, I don't have a standalone of As We Know. I don't have a standalone of Double Dream of Spring. I would love the green cover Double Dream of Spring that shows like a green tree. I would love a copy of Some Trees. I mean, I probably couldn't possibly get like a Yale Younger Series of Poets, like first edition, but maybe I could get that silver one that came out in like the 70s or something. That one would be nice. It'd be nice to have a standalone of Some Trees. I do not have that. I don't like the new uniform edition of the Yale Younger Series of Poets. I do not like those at all with the rounded edges. I think the rounded edges aren't the problem. I think it's the covers that are bad. But I think now, getting to the point of what I'm saying, I think my major grail now, the one that, I mean, of course there are unthinkable grails like a copy of Turandot and other poems. That would be unthinkable. But then there is a book, 3 Plays, by Z Press, that I think is sold, like if you were looking for a hardcover of it today, it would run you like $150. And if I could lay my hands on a copy of that, I would be so happy, because I've never read The Heroes in full. I've never read The Conspirator. I think the other plays in it are The Conspirator and I forget what the other one's called. The Statues? I forget. Anyway, that one would be great. Although it is on archive.org. So I could read the full text tonight if I wanted to. But anyway, tonight is a night of celebration, for this Ashbery collector is now in possession of 2 very enviable copies of great early to middle career. Well, would you call this middle career? His career is so long. Early to late early period books by John Ashbery. Take care, everybody. Happy reading.